From a highly secure network of top secret locations across North America, this is the Spurs Insider, finally with a loss edition. I am Mike Finger, joined as always by Express News Spurs beat writers Jeff McDonald and Tom Orsborn, along with sports editor Nick Talbot. Tom and I are joining you from secure locations on the West Coast where the Spurs are dealing with a new injury, dealing with a new loss. Tom, where should we start?
Well, the injury stands out most. I mean, the loss in Phoenix, Phoenix, the Suns did a great job, which Wemby conceded a great job.
Even though the predictions last week didn't reflect it, it seemed like once the Spurs won that game at home against Miami, improving to 5-0 for the first time in franchise history, something that Tim Duncan and George Gervin and David Robinson and Sandro Mamukelashvili never did. That celebration sort of, I think, led us all to believe that that Phoenix game was set up for a letdown, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and hats off to Phoenix, as Mitch Johnson said. I mean, they did a great job on Wemby. Great defense.
But you were saying about Dylan Harper.
Yeah, Dylan Harper out with a left calf strain, which was a good case scenario for the Spurs. No ligament damage, no tear. A team spokesman gave me a rather rosy, timeline for him, saying he's day to day. But yeah, he's probably going to be out for a while. But the good news is he will be back. He suffered that injury in the second quarter against Phoenix.
Those calf injuries can be scary because they can linger. The doomsday type people worry that, especially when you see a guy land with non-contact, you start worrying about all kinds of stuff. The calf is connected to the Achilles, is connected to the rib bone, what have you. But you're right. This was a good case scenario for that type of injury. It's a bad case scenario because Dylan Harper, Jeff, was playing so well. And, he had a couple of rough starts to games early in his first week, but took over some games late. And that one against Phoenix was shaping up to be maybe the best game of his young career, 6 games into it.
Yeah, they wouldn't have started 5-0 without him.
Yeah.
So that's how important he was to what they were building and are building. And, it is a shame that he's going to miss some time. And I suppose day to day is fine, but I think it's going to be day to day for a lot of days.
Yeah.
I don't, as you mentioned, sometimes a calf strain is just a calf strain, and sometimes it's a blinking red light warning you of an impending Achilles issue. So they are going to take all kinds of caution with this guy. I wouldn't expect to see him back, super soon.
I will say that that blinking red light is often with guys with more miles on them than Dylan Harper has later in seasons, older guys. But your point is well taken. You don't take chances with these, and especially when you look at the way the Spurs have been handling every other injury they've been dealing with. None of these other injuries were said to be month-long type issues or even weeks-long type issues, and yet you're still waiting for 4 veteran guys to make their season debut. You're still waiting for Luke Kornet. Tom and I are about to head to a practice at USC. We'll find out more about Luke Kornet and his availability for the Wednesday game against the Los Angeles Lakers. But that never looked like anything more than an hour-to-hour injury, much less day-to-day. And we're still waiting for him to come back. So I would not bet at all. This is still an anti-gambling podcast, but I would not expect Dylan Harper to return probably in the next week or so.
Every injury is different. Every player responds to injuries differently. But Jeremy Sohan suffered kind of a similar injury in August playing for Poland and still has not played a game for the Spurs yet. And here we are 2 months later, 3 months later. How many months? So I'm not saying Dylan Harper is going to be out 3 months, but that just illustrates sort of the care they take with that particular injury.
I guess Jeremy's wrist injury compounded things, but you are correct, Jeff McDonald.
I usually am.
Yes, you are.
Dylan Harper was the news of the week, but there were 2 games played since we last convened the Spurs Insider podcast. One of them a pretty fun one back in Frostbank Center with the local Cagers. Like I said earlier, did what no team has ever done before, and the good vibes continued. The vibes after the game in Phoenix the other night weren't terrible. You know, that I think everybody understood that something like this is going to happen. But this still, despite the Dylan Harper injury, despite the sort of blowout loss to Phoenix, even though the final score didn't quite show how one-sided that was, it's still been a pretty impressive start to the season. Still a lot of optimism on this team.
Oh yeah, yeah. And as I said last week, coaches love to have a loss when a team's riding super high. You know, especially in this long NBA season. They gave Mitch something to point out things, and as you astutely observed from our perch in Phoenix, he got in some faces.
I was talking to from our perch. It was a pretty decent view down into the huddle, and it's a view that Tom Orsborn and Jeff McDonald, all of us have had over the years, looking down into the Greg Popovich huddle, where he would coach up Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker and Kawhi Leonard in much the same way that he was coaching up, the guys at the end of the bench, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. And there was a moment late in that game on Sunday where he had Victor Wembanyama sitting right in front of him, Julian Champagnie, Stephon Castle, and it was a finger in the face of each of them, and it was very Pop-like. There was a point he said, "You and you and you," and I don't think he was saying you and you and you are invited to wine tonight. I think it was take responsibility. And I talked to Devin Vassell about that after the game, and he said, "Yeah, that was just him asking for accountability, and the message was received, and that's the way you want to be coached." And the savvy veteran, longtime Grizzly guy who's been around forever, second-year pro Stephon Castle, as he noted after that game, I think we were getting a little too comfortable after that 5-0 start.
Wake-up call, he said.
Yeah. So obviously this was going to happen. Obviously they weren't going to go 82-0. I think that this could be used as well as some of those early season victories were in the long run. Jeff, what have you seen just big picture wise after a 5-1 start?
I got a super hot take. I think they just are they are who we think they are. Like I think there was some understandably so, like a penchant after their 5-0 thing. We started the season. The Spurs are going to be better. They're going to win a lot of games. They need to make the play-in. That's what we said on this podcast. That needs to be the baseline. Make the play-in.
Or better.
Or better. Victor says we're going to be the 6th seed. We're like, well, that's a good goal, but, we'll see about that. The West is tough. I think I still feel the same about them. I think there's a penchant after they started 5-0 to be like, oh, that 6th seed is they're good enough for that easily. Like, we're going to cruise to that. And I think on the flip side, like, losing to Phoenix the way they did shouldn't cause anyone to overreact that the whole house of cards is crashing down. But I think I don't really think they're still going to be a team that is going to, there's not a playoff lock. I don't think they're going to be a playoff lock. So they're a team that's going to have to fight for it and work for it. And that might have been obscured a little in that 5-0 start. I mean, they won the games they're supposed to win. That was great. They played 2 of the worst offenses in the league, 2 of the worst defenses, had a really nice win against Miami. I don't want to poo-poo that start. Like, they needed to win those games. They did a good job. But I don't think it portended like, oh, they're one of the best teams in the West already. And I mean, they still have some work to do. And yes, they have some bodies to get back too. That's the other thing that if you really wanted to be optimistic about that start is they did it without their second best player. So you can look at it that way, but I still think this is a team that if 6th place is your goal, that's a nice goal, and they could definitely get there. But I don't think it's an automatic lock by any means.
I will take the sort of the middle ground between what you said.
That's what I thought I was doing.
Well, I think that when you say they're not a playoffs lock, I would qualify that only by saying injuries can happen, things can fall apart. I think barring continued injury mayhem, this is a team that's good enough. Everything you said is correct. But when you look around at disasters and you look around at panic, like some of that's happening in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
They're like, just what's going on in Memphis? Dallas can't be too encouraged by what's going on there. The Pelicans weren't going to be a playoff team, but holy moly, things are looking ugly there. All of this is to say, I think that if you get the guys that you hope to get for the majority of the season, it's not unrealistic to think that should be what Victor Wembanyama said it should be, a 6 seed. I can't.
Not unrealistic.
I can't count 6 teams that should expect to finish in front of the Spurs, all things being equal. And I think a couple of, maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment, but a couple of weeks ago, I might have been able to count 6, 7 teams that, if things go right, they should finish ahead of the Spurs. Now I'm thinking there may be 5. And of course, you're right, they're not a playoff lock. But I think I'm getting to the point where the 6 seed is sort of my, if not the baseline, my expectation. I think that's about right from what I've seen so far.
You've changed your tune in like a week and a half.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
A week and a half.
It's absurd, right? But I just think that there's just a combination of not just the Spurs, but some of the rest of the teams in the West that clearly have flaws too. And sure, that can change. And the Spurs played the worst schedule in the league through 4 games. The 5th game was against a better team in Miami. But here's you pointed it out. We have not seen De'Aaron Fox yet. A lot of this has come without Luke Cornett, Jeremy Sohan, and even the Lindy Waters and Kelly Olynyk of the world. It's been a lot of Jordan McLaughlin minutes. It's been a lot of Jordan McLaughlin, by the way. A lot of Bismack Biyombo minutes. And nothing against those guys, but those guys were signed as veteran guys to be in the locker room, which they're great. They were signed as break glass in case of emergency, and the emergency is already here. And the Spurs are 5-1. Granted, it's against a not great schedule, but basically what I'm trying to say is, yes, I probably am overreacting. Yes, it is probably absurd, but there's reasons why I think that it's not crazy to think that the 6th seed somewhere right there should be the expectation, as opposed to a month ago when I would have thought like, hey, 9th seed is fine. 9th seed could be good. I think
not a month ago, a week and a half ago. 5 games ago, 6 games ago, whatever.
You're right. I'm ridiculous, but I think
they should compete for it. They should compete for it. Yeah. They'll be in the mix.
There's a really tall guy on the team that we haven't talked about yet.
I was about to bring him up.
Okay.
You're talking about Luke Cornett? No.
Yeah.
What do we make of the game plan Phoenix unveiled against Victor, and is it repeatable by other teams? And if so, can he and even more especially his teammates figure out a way to beat it?
In the valley, in the desert of Arizona, a few of us were talking about this, and I made the observation that Jeff, I'm going to ask you this question. Of all the players who defended Victor Wembanyama during his first 2 seasons, which player, and there might be more than one, but this one's
Dylan Brooks.
Yes, which player gave him the most difficult time? Dylan Brooks. When we got to the what is the arena called now, Tom, that we've been to a million times, and always has a different name.
It's a different name every time.
Every time it's a different name. We got to the Mortgage Matchup Center.
MMC.
Dylan Brooks, the guy who'd given Victor as difficult of a time as he'd endured over his first 2 seasons, was wearing blue jeans and like a designer T-shirt, and he's not going to play. So you think, wow, what a lucky break for Victor Wembanyama not to have to deal with that nuisance because that's what he is. He's just a nuisance.
Nemesis. Yeah.
Nemesis.
A pest.
And not to say that Dylan Brooks got the better of Victor Wembanyama. Like Victor's a much better player, but
he bothered him.
Dylan bothered him. So you think, oh, he's going to get the night off from Dylan Brooks. And what did the Suns do? They gave Victor all kinds of Dylan Brooks-like problems without Dylan Brooks.
6'6" Royce O'Neal did a good Dylan Brooks imitation.
He sure did. And that's the way teams are going to go at him. They're going to bring help. They're going to instead of putting the biggest guy on him and leaving him alone, they're going to put 6'6" guys on him and give him help and harass him and make things difficult. And another thing is like, it could also be just a bad night. It could be a confluence of all kinds of factors. It could be the defense they played on him and the fact that Victor had just been playing a lot of minutes, 5 games in a row, was due for kind of a step back. This combination of this defense, an exciting first week, maybe a bit of a take the game for granted type of outlook, which every player deals with when you're going to a Phoenix team that isn't highly respected, highly vaunted after you're 5-0. All this could play into it.
And Devin struggled, and Harper goes out. So, there was no recovering. And they did kind of recover, but, it was just a tough night.
If that defense is so effective against the freak of nature known as Victor Wembanyama, why doesn't everyone do it? And why doesn't everyone do it effectively?
That's the point. I think it can be effective, but there are times when Victor's just going to be. I mean, he's a top 5 player in the league. That might be a hot take, but he's going to be too good for whatever defense is thrown at him sometimes.
What would help? What would help in those situations like the other night? And you guys know this, and everyone listening knows this, is if they had more 3-point shooting, or more reliable 3-point shooting. Which they just are what they are at this point. They have to make it work, and I think that's the reason we're talking about them is maybe the 6th seed is their ceiling instead of something higher than that. But like there was a clip someone showed the other, like it's not just that they're triple teaming and double teaming Victor. Like when he gets the ball, they're doing it before he gets the ball.
Yeah,
they're keeping him from getting the ball. So there was a clip someone showed from the other night where like Steph Castle's guy, like Victor is double teamed by 2 guys, and the third guy is Steph Castle's guy. This is before he gets the ball. The third guy is Steph Castle's guy, who is Vic is like free throw line extended on the right wing. Steph is at the top of the key or the top of the 3-point arc, and Steph's defender is touching Victor. Like he's not guarding Steph at all. And I think Steph did hit a 3 out of that, but like more of that, please. Like that's how you beat that. If they're going to put 3 guys on Victor before he touches the ball, you have to punish that. You have to. And the Spurs didn't do it the other night, and that's one way to beat it, though, is to be able to do that. And if they have if De'Aaron Fox is there and you're throwing the ball out there to De'Aaron Fox, like you almost can't defend the Spurs that way because De'Aaron's going to make you pay. Not maybe not with a 3-pointer, but you're going to swing the ball to him. He's going to attack a wide open lane, and it's over. So, just having more players, better shooters, better scorers around him will help alleviate some of that.
Victor also should have had. He did not have a great game. And this wouldn't have changed the outcome, I don't think. But he could have had probably 11, 12 assists the other night, Tom.
Yes.
Over and over again, he'd drive, just run into traffic. And he made the smart pass several times to the corner, to the wing for 3-point shots that just missed. And sometimes the Spurs are not a great 3-point shooting team. But on that night, they were particularly not great. Phoenix was particularly good. The Phoenix was 75% late into the game. It was crazy how many 3-pointers they were making.
Like if you could ever add that guy to the roster, like one of those guys in the league that we all know, I don't even want to mention any names, but just like one of those guys where as soon as the ball swings to them wide open, you're like, oh crap, that's going in. Like if you could ever put that guy on the floor with Victor in those situations, that would be really helpful.
Another way to attack those defenses that was working against Phoenix and sort of keeping the Spurs within reasonable striking distance in the first half is having a big guard who can get to the rim any times he wants, even when the defense is swarming Victor Wembanyama. That's what Dylan Harper was doing. They're going to have to not have him around for a little bit. But I think once he gets back, he's going to pay some big dividends, and he's going to be of great use on nights like that when Victor's struggling. Him back, De'Aaron Fox back, on down the line. Stephon Castle's getting better, even though friend of the podcast, friend from Marriott Breakfast Rooms, Zach Zarba, the other day, Tom, referred to the reigning rookie of the year as Steven Castle.
I heard it.
It happens.
It's slander.
It happens.
Slander. What did you guys make of Vic's just like energy level in that game? And I'll just speak for like the nuts on Twitter, and they're not nuts. They're just, they went through some traumatic stuff with Victor last year, sports trauma, not life or death trauma for the fans, maybe for Victor, but like there's a lot of people going like, man, he was lethargic. Like this is how it looked before the blood clot last year. And we worry just how did you think his energy level was? And do you think maybe it's just attributed to all the minutes he had been playing leading up to that?
Yeah. He was going through a tough night, and that happens. And I will just say, in watching him for 3 years, there are moments in the game where he sort of drags. And I think there was it was one of the games I was watching next to Jeff McDonald over the past couple of weeks, when I said, man, Victor looks tired. Do you remember this?
I don't.
And I said, man, Victor looks tired, kind of dragging. And within like 6 seconds of me saying that, he exploded down the lane and dunked. I think just sometimes when you're 7'5", 7'7", 7'9", whatever he is, you'd look like you're dragging every now and then up and down the court. I think I'm not going to overreact to lethargic body language. I'm sorry.
Two words to solve this problem. Luke Cornett.
Yeah. Victor has played a lot of minutes. He had not played in 8 months. You got to remember that too.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of minutes after not playing at all. I know he was in pickup games and kickboxing and doing all kinds of stuff over the summer, but NBA game action is much different than all that. Of course you're going to drag a little bit.
The 40 minutes again. I think I have this right. The 40 minutes he played against the Heat just the game before. I think it's only the second time in his career he reached 40 minutes in regulation.
Yeah.
So it's more minutes than he's used to playing, and a lot of that, like Tom mentioned, is the Cornett issue. They can't survive. I mean, they kind of actually did survive the non-Wemby minutes against Miami, like surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
But long term, they can't survive a lot of minutes with Bismack Biyombo at center.
I don't have the box in front of me, but Tom, I think it was we were noting this after the game the other night. As bad as Victor was, by far his worst game of the season, one of the worst of his career, in a game that the Spurs were blowed out. I think he was -3.
Yeah, it was -3. Whereas Devin -23, Harrison -25. Yeah.
Right. They're still really good when he's out there. And even when they're bad, even when he's bad, he keeps them in games.
Yeah.
Did you just that was the hottest take I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The Spurs are really good when Victor Wembanyama was on.
Well, I'm saying it. I'm yes.
Stringent analysis.
You're making fun, but you just mentioned the overreaction from people worried about how horrible he is and how terrible he looked.
Well,
and him,
I think they're just worried
in
about
that
him
situation. Even when he looks that bad by his standards, the Spurs are -3 with him out there. That's incredible.
Anyway, I just wanted to take care of the fans on the social media who are asking questions. I just thought I'd throw that out there for the group, and you guys answered it well.
All right.
Yeah, Devin had his worst game, but someone who hasn't had a bad game yet is Keldon. 19 points, 8 of 14 against Phoenix. Guy's playing good ball.
I think that is what this is. Jeff's going to make fun of this too, but like when you're a role player, that you can sort of bring that role every night.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is deep basketball analysis, but role players, I think when you're an energy guy, in a way, you're more like the coaches say defense travels, that type of stuff. I think energy travels. Energy is always there. And so when you rely on shooting, if Keldon was a guy that needed 20 points from every night, he'd have his off nights. but when they just need him to be Keldon,
Well,
I think you can count on it every night. I think that's a cool thing. That's a good observation there, Tom.
Yeah, well, the thing about him is, as you guys know, he's so into that role. You know, he's embraced it so much after an initial reluctance or adjustment period, but he's so into it now, so good at it.
Yeah. Of the non Dylan Harper, Luke Cornett group, who do we think is going to come back first? Who do you think would be the biggest help? And I guess there's 4 other guys.
Well,
anybody you're looking forward to seeing out there?
The answer is Fox, right? Is that?
Of course. I was thinking of that. I was trying to get into the idea of where how Jeremy Sohan would fit into this, and I'm still not sure.
I'm still not sure either. I mean, he does things that will be helpful, but I'm not sure how. I'll have to see it, but he's going to be able to guard some guys for you. He would have been helpful in this time with Cornette out, even though he's not a big guy. Yeah. He's probably a better option at center than Bismack Biyombo.
A better small ball center. Yeah.
You know,
that's sort of from the Spurs standpoint. That's sort of the frustrating thing about this is so many of these guys who they might not be counting on as much would have been able to offer something at this point. Like you take you take Lindy Waters. Mm-hmm. Like he's 2 weeks ago we were not thinking about him at all in terms of this season. He's in that last 5 of the 15, he'll play when he needs to. But over the past couple of weeks, he could have played a lot. Yeah. And he's just not available. The same thing with Kelly Olynyk, the same thing with Sohan to a lesser degree. Like with Cornette out, he probably could have been your backup big guy.
And Waters would have taken McLaughlin's minutes. And
a lot of McLaughlin or Carter Bryant's minutes.
Probably shot better from 3. Yeah.
I mean, McLaughlin's minutes will, well, now Harper's out, though. I was going to say McLaughlin's minutes would go away when Fox came back because that trickle-down effect, but now Harper's out, so.
Yeah. It's we'll see if they start to get some guys back. I think the plan before the Harper injury was to Tom. I think you can speak to this sort of stagger returns, like not bring everybody back at once, but they were thinking about best case scenario where you bring back one guy on the road in LA and another guy back home and slowly get back to full strength. I'm not sure how the Harper thing changes this. And Tom, you asked a good question. After Phoenix, this is it was an expected answer, but a question that fans might have had about Harper being out, does this create more urgency to bring some of the injured guys back? And Mitch Johnson said absolutely not.
Yeah, emphatic no.
Emphatic no. But I do think we'll see some of those guys back soon.
I think that's maybe what a little part of what I'm getting at earlier is, well, maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was just thinking in my head and I forgot to say it out loud. But it's going to be hard to win 5 out of every 6 games with half the rotation out. Like eventually that catches up to you.
And against just better teams.
I mean, both, yeah.
But we'll see. The week ahead is a big one before we meet again. The starting with the Lakers on Wednesday, Tom. What do you think? I'm going to look at the whole thing of that. We got Houston in a big showdown on Friday back at the Frost Bank Center, and beyond that, there's a Saturday game against the reeling New Orleans Pelicans, and a Monday game at Chicago. That is 4 games before the next podcast. At the Lakers, home against the Rockets, home against the Pels, at the Bulls. Who you got, Tom Orsborn?
Lakers get Doncic back after a 1-game injury management absence.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Lakers. Although Spurs could have a bounce back game after that get in your face moment that you observed.
Victor loves the big stage too.
But yeah, Houston, that's always a fun game. I'm gonna be pessimistic and go 1-2.
There's four games.
Oh, 4 games. Okay, 2-2
At the Bulls.
The pesky
2-2.
Bulls.
So you got them beating the Pelicans and the Bulls.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeffrey.
I'm looking forward to that Lakers game. That's going to be a tough one, shorthanded at LA. Luka's playing as well as anybody in the league. That's going to be a tough one. Looking at the 4 as a whole, I'm going 2-2, but man, as banged up as the Spurs are, like a 1-3 wouldn't shock me. But I'll give them 2-2. That Rockets game is going to be a bloodbath too. Like that's going to be a rough one. So if I'm giving him 2-2, I'm obviously giving him the Pelicans game because that team is a mess. And then
the Bulls started 5-0.
The Bulls started 5-0, and Spurs seem to
Trey Jones
have trouble winning there. But I'm going to give them that game if I'm giving them 2-2.
The point is like 1-3. It would not be would be far.
That's what I'm
from a
saying.
shock.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll give them. I'll cop out here. It's a cop out. I will go 2-2 as well, but I'm not going to specify where the 2 are.
The vibes are not as good on this week's edition. They're not as high.
I mean, you're and another question is like, do you get De'Aaron Fox back for any of these 4? Do you get Luke Cornett back? I'm thinking that Luke Cornett will. I would expect Luke Cornett to for sure be back for one of these 4. I'd be surprised if he's not. But yeah, that plays into it. I think that they can get. I'll say they get 2 of the 4, but I'm not confident as to where those 2 are.
When we convene next, we'll know if there is a funding mechanism in place for a new arena. Dare we make a prediction?
Well, I'm not going to make a prediction on
2-2.
This might not. When people listen to that, they might already know. A lot of people listen to this.
Yeah, you're right.
Wednesday mornings.
Good point, Mike.
And we've avoided this discussion for as long as we have, and why not avoid it for one more day?
For consistency's sake.
Yes.
Well, that'll be a big things to say. No, I'm kidding.
That'll be that's big news. I know the Spurs are really, really, really looking forward to finding out what happens, as are a lot of people. So
what's the weather like in San Antonio, Jeff, for
beautiful
election day? Okay.
It's David Flores beautiful.
Okay. All right.
Friend of the podcast, David Flores. Nobody appreciated a beautiful day.
Yes.
Like he does.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. We will know the answer to the election question when we meet next. We will find out how the Spurs weather this injury storm, get through the next 4 games, and until we see you next time, take care of each other and keep it real.